I'm Valerie Sanwitine, the Executive Director of Freedom Run Farm. We are a consortium of shepherds. We are a diverse group of shepherds who are passionately dedicated to raising premium quality lamb consistently all year round. We've chosen to work with this Appalachian Heritage Breed, the Katahdin. We chose it because it's incredibly hardy, it has great mothering instincts, and it can breed out of season. It's a breed that was developed here in America just for meat production, and it has incredible carcass qualities. We have developed our own specific feeding program that involves always a degree of forage or hay, and also a proprietary grain part of it that shepherds had when Kentucky used to be known as the finest lamb in the world. Prior to World War II, was known all up and down the East Coast as Kentucky lamb. I mean, go look at New York Times, they're full of articles about encouraging the home chef to, this Kentucky lamb, or very well-known chefs in New York talking about, singing the praises of Kentucky lamb. There were just as many sheep actually as cows here in the 1940s. Kind of a variety of reasons why it led to its demise, but our consortium, the Freedom Run Farm Consortium, is all about bringing it back. Shepherds are a special kind of farmers, and remember that we do something really, really beautiful here with lamb, and it's a very important part of our cuisine, our heritage. Bringing that up to the forefront again is exciting for us. We've always had lamb here, going back to some of these old, books and recipe collections, and it was always part of our hospitality, whether it be a visitor coming in from out of state, out of country, or a backyard barbecue. That, lamb here in Kentucky has always been used to bring people together.
It's funny to me how lamb hasn't really caught on in America the same way beef and pork has. And I think there's many reasons for it. But partly is I think it's just unknown.
Lamb always seemed like something that was hard to approach. I started cooking when I was pretty young, and I remember being in culinary school and being terrified of overcooking lamb.
People often say, well, now how do you cook lamb? What do you do with it? And I'm like, well, it's really easy. You can use our ground lamb just the same that you would use, a hamburger.
We wanted to do something a little more double local, if you will, with the Freedom Run Burger. So what we did was we paired it with a Benedictine spread, which is native here to Louisville, that we spice up with a little bit of sambal hot sauce. But other than that, it's a traditional Benedictine. And a little bit of arugula and pickled red onion. It's just really simply grilled with salt. It is very good, and the fat content in the lamb is great, and it kind of smokes itself a little bit on the char grill. So the flavor profile of it is more acceptable to people who maybe haven't tried lamb before. So what we can say to them is, if you don't like this lamb burger, you're probably not going to like any lamb burgers.
If you look at pork and beef as an option, they're so familiar. So whenever you want to look for something a little more unique, but with a really beautiful texture, we always turn to lamb. There's so many applications. I feel like lamb is probably one of the most versatile meats.
Kentucky, we've got a long history of raising lamb and being one of the greatest lamb producers in the country. So we've tried to highlight that and showcase this amazing product on our Derby menus. We made this amazing Moroccan spice lamb. We put some roasted tomatoes and olives. We used a little Caprio Farm, mild Kentucky tome cheese on it. And so one of the reasons that I really kind of gravitate towards that lamb, one, the flavor profile. We can take it and add tomatoes and olives and the goat cheese. We finished it with some arugula and mint. The fat content in there, it's juicy, it's full, flavorful, and it's something unexpected,
This lamb is approachable. And when I say premium quality, I don't mean like it's this, untouchable. It's really how I think lamb should taste. And don't be afraid of it.
Kentucky really doesn't have a pork or beef barbecue tradition. So really our barbecue roots kind of stem back to the mutton barbecue.
My great-great-grandfather, Pappy Foreman, started Old Hickory Barbecue in Western Kentucky in Owensboro in 1918.
At the sandwich shop, we primarily use Freedom Run's lamb for our burgoo. It's a staple here. We have had it on the menu since our opening date.
For over 100 years, my ancestors, my family's been working a pot of burgoo, every morning. And so there's something like really therapeutic for me to get to do that.
My wife has a 100-year-old family history with this dish, so to do it half-assed would have been an insult to the family, we couldn't do that. So we needed good lamb to start. We knew that. I am impressed with the size of their lambs. The lambs that I had raised previously never passed probably like 70, 75 pounds. We just received our first, through their mutton program, full mutton lamb that we broke down. It was 94 pounds. And it's an old lamb. Normally at other places I had worked, that lamb would just work until it died, and it honestly might just get left in a field. But the fact that they cared enough to come to us, and knowing that we made burgoo and we were interested in their product anyway, to offer it up to us and send it here was a dream. And once it landed on my cutting board and we kind of unpackaged it, it was just clean. Just just pure notes of pasture. To be able to smell the diet of an animal upon butchering it is very magical, and it just speaks volumes to the kind of product you're working with. It makes you, as the cook, as the butcher, care more, because you can tell that someone cared for it more. Lamb specifically was something, as a cook, I was probably the most unfamiliar with when I started raising and butchering lamb. I had zero experience. And through the years of working with it, it has truly become my favorite protein.
The model of how we do it east of the Mississippi, west of the Mississippi, whether it's cows or lamb, you've got ranches, so you've got large animal groups being managed there. But east of the Mississippi, we have a tradition of smaller family farms that are a fabric of agriculture here.
The type of sheep that we raise Katahdin sheep. They are named for the Katahdin Mountains in Maine, where the breed was developed. And I understand that they were released in 1957, so it's relatively a new breed. It's a U.S. breed, it's an Appalachian breed.
There's a new breed called the Appalachian Heritage Breed, and it's really unique, and it's really different than what you would find in commercial lamb breeding. And the intramuscular fat is going to be key to how the flavor is and how it works, and that lamb, it will just have a different texture, and it's going to really change the way I think people look at lamb and how to cook it.
Most of the mutton that's offered here in the States, again, it's from New Zealand, so it's not a lot of what the majority of Americans have been exposed to is something that's not, it's imported, and it's the American Lamb Board actually has done a lot of studies showing that actually the palatability of it is not as conducive to the American palate. It's more people find it gamey. It's smaller, like the size of their chops are considerably smaller than ours. So it's kind of unfortunate if that's the experience that people have with their initial foray into lamb. They're like, I don't think I like it.
To be using heritage breed lambs, to be only grass feeding them on open pastures, and to have the overseers of that business care so much about them from a field perspective, not a plate perspective, makes all the difference in the world.
Outside of lamb chops, I think a lot of lamb is mostly used in braises, long, slow cooking methods. But I think this breed will change the way we look at that, and that we can look at it as more of like a luxury beef product. And so I'm very excited about it. There's an entire sort of animal to work with. And lamb shoulders, lamb shanks, lamb hindquarters, lamb necks, make incredible gravy.
Making burgers, putting into sauces that we're making ragouts, braising the lamb shanks. We've got a beautiful rack of lamb on our menu.
You can use Henry Bain sauce to those wonderful little porterhouse. There's so many cool things, like part of our native cuisine that you can apply.
It really lends itself well to basically anything you want to do if you would like to experiment with it.
Even in the 70s, we had the Americans, I think, consumed 5 pounds per capita consumption, and with 66% of the market share being import, the American consumption is flatlined at a pound per capita consumption, and we're out to change that. We're really out to revive a tradition of enjoying lamb and bringing the American consumer back to our table, and I'm excited about it and welcoming.
I can't take an inferior meat and make it taste wonderful. That starts at the farm level. They're the ones creating this incredible flavor. I'm really just sort of bending and massaging and adding layers and components to it. But they're the ones that create the flavor. If you've always done pork and beef, think about lamb as an option, because it has just a different texture and a really wonderful flavor.
We're reviving, reclaiming part of our heritage here in Kentucky, and I think having a product that has a sense of place, a place in history, a place in modern times that's relevant, and to our cuisine. Our distributors, Fossil Farms, I mean, they're very proud. They were talking about how, Maryland is to crab, Kentucky should be to lamb, and reintroducing our product on the East Coast in that shape, in that context, and having, incredible caliber of chefs connect with that story and want to be part of it. It's really special.